Hello there, how has your week been? I hope it's been a good one for you. Quite a buckets of rain here. I was almost thinking about heading into work in a kayak this evening, but I will actually be recording this because I'm going to be on air with you tonight. That's Saturday evening, but I do hope that you will enjoy the story I've chosen for you today, which is from JoJo Moyes' collection, Paris for One. I think it's probably the last story I'll be able to squeeze out of it. A little unseasonal. It's called The Christmas List, but I'm sure you're going to love it. It's a great tale. Pink fritillary. Only David's mother would insist on a perfume that nobody has ever heard of. Chrissy has walked the length of the West End, and each department store has told her, "Oh no, we don't stock that. Try..." So as she pushes her way through the crowds, she begins to wonder if Diana has done it deliberately, just so that she can say with a sigh on Christmas Day, "Oh, David said you were getting me perfume. Still, this is nice." Chrissy will not give her the satisfaction. She trudges down Oxford Street, dodging the harassed shoppers laden with shiny bags, ducking into shops until her shoes rub, her ears filled with the tinny sound of jingle bells on an electronic loop. One day, she thinks, she'll remember that the 23rd of December is no time for last-minute shopping. In Selfridges, another assistant shrugs and looks blank. Chrissy thinks she might cry. Outside, it's begun to rain. She feels the weight of the carrier bags pulling at her shoulders, and does something she's never done before. She heads into one of the glossy bars and she orders a large glass of wine. She drinks it swiftly, feeling mutinous, and over-tips as she leaves, as if she is the kind of woman who does this all the time. "Right," she says as she heads for the doors. "One last push." And then she sees it. A rare sight on a wet London street. A taxi with its light on. She dives off the pavement and it swerves to meet her. Liberty, I think." She hurls her bags onto the back seat and sinks into it gratefully. She has never been in the back of a London taxi without feeling vaguely as if she's been rescued from something. "You think?" "I need a particular perfume for my mother-in-law. Liberty is my last hope." She can only see his amused eyes in the mirror, the close-cut hair of the back of his head. "Your husband can't help." He doesn't really do shopping. The driver raises an eyebrow. There is a whole world in that raised eyebrow. And then her phone pings. "Did you pick up dollars for my New York trip?" She'd had to go all the way home to fetch her passport because the bank wouldn't let her without it. It's why she's late now. "Yes," she types. She waits a moment, but he does not respond. "Do you buy presents then?" she asks the driver. "Yeah, I love all that. Mind you, this year my daughter's come home to live with us because she's had a baby, so we're being a bit careful with what we spend." Is she on her own? The wine has made her garrulous. It's one of the reasons David doesn't like her drinking. "Yeah, she had a bloke a bit older, but he said he didn't want kids. She fell pregnant, turns out he meant it. It's a bit of a squash and money's tight, but..." She can hear the smile in his voice. "It's lovely." "I don't want children," David had told her right at the beginning. "I never have." She had heard the words as if through a muffler. Some part of her had always assumed he would simply change his mind. "Lucky her, having you." "You got any?" "No," she says, "none." The taxi queues patiently in the heaving, wet street. Beside it, a shop front blares jingle bells at deafening volume. The driver glances up. "Looking forward to Christmas?" "Not really. My mother-in-law doesn't like me very much, and she's staying a full 10 days, along with her other son who speaks in grunts and he keeps the remote control in his trouser pocket. I'll probably just hide out in the kitchen most of the time." "Doesn't sound much like fun." "Sorry, I'm a Grinch. Actually, I've had a large glass of white wine, which means that I'm saying what I think." "Don't you usually, then, say what you think?" "Never. Much safer that way." She tries to mask the words with a cheery smile, but there is a short, painful silence. "Get a grip," she scolds herself. "Tell you what," he says. "My wife's got a friend who works for Liberty. I'll call home. What's his perfume called?" She can't help eavesdropping. His voice on the telephone is low, intimate. Before he rings off, he laughs at some shared joke. She and David have no shared jokes, and somehow the realisation of this makes her feel sadder than anything. Forget Liberty, little perfume shop round the back of Covent Garden. We'll go there, she says. Want me to try it? She leans forward. Oh, yes, please. She knew the perfume. Says it's lovely. And pricey. He grins conspiratorially. Yep, that sounds like Diana. Well, now you'll be in her good books, won't you? Hold on, I'm going to do a Yui. He lurches across the road and she laughs as she is thrown to the other side of the seat. He grins. I love doing that. One day I'm going to get caught. Do you like your job? She pushes herself upright. I love it. My customers are generally okay. I don't stop for everyone, you know. Only people who look all right. So I looked all right then. She's still laughing. You looked anxious. I hate to see anxious-looking women. She knows immediately what he means. It's the expression that seems to have taken root on her face these last few years. The furrowed brow, the compressed lips. When did I turn into this woman, she thinks. When my boss left and Ming the Merciless took over. When my husband began spending every night behind a laptop, chatting to people I don't know. When I stopped looking at myself in shop windows. I've offended you. No, I just wish I weren't. Anxious looking. I didn't used to be. Maybe you need a holiday. Oh no, we have to take his mother these days, which isn't really a holiday. Mind you, he gets loads of business trips to lovely places. The driver raises his hand in greeting to another taxi driver. Where would you go then, if you could go anywhere? She thinks. My best friend, Myra. She lives in Barcelona. She has her own restaurant right in the centre. She's the most amazing chef. I think I'd go there. I haven't seen her for years. We email, but it's not the same. Oh, excuse me, phone. She scrabbles in her bag and gazes at the illuminated screen. Don't forget the Stilton Mum likes from that special cheese shop. Her heart sinks. She'd completely forgotten. Everything okay? The driver says after a pause. I forgot the cheese. I was meant to go to a shop in Marylebone. She can't keep the despair from her voice. All the way over there? For cheese? She only likes one particular kind of Stilton. God blimey, she is a tough customer, he says. You want me to turn round? Traffic's not great. She sighs, gathers her bags around her. No, I think I'd better get the tube. I've probably already blown my taxi budget. Can you pull over? His eyes meet hers. Nah, tell you what, I'll turn the meter off. And he does. You can't do that. Just did. I'll do it once a year, every year. You're this year's lucky recipient. I'll tell you what, we'll do the perfume, then we'll go back via the cheese shop and I'll drop you at the station afterwards. A little Christmas present. Ah, don't. I was trying to put a smile back on that face. Something odd has happened. Her eyes are filled with tears. Sorry, she says, wiping at her face. I don't know what's come over me. He smiles reassuringly. It makes her want to cry more. We'll sort the perfume and that'll make you feel better. He's right about the traffic. They sit in queues, lurching into sporadic action along back routes. The whole of London feels grey and wet. He talks about his wife, of how he likes to get up with a baby at dawn so that his daughter can sleep in. Just him and the little mite in his arms, gazing up at him. When he stops talking, she's almost forgotten why they've come to a halt. I'll wait here. Leave your bags in the back, he says. The perfume shop is a gloriously scented haven. Pink fritillary, she says, observing as she reads her husband's handwriting what a delicate scent to put on such a sullen, lumpen woman. I'm afraid we're out of the 50 ml, the woman says, reaching behind her. We only have the 100 ml left. And it's the parfum, not the eau de toilette. Is that okay? It is twice what she has budgeted, but the thought of Diana's face. Oh, she would exclaim, the corners of her mouth pulling down towards her jaw. You've got the cheap version. Never mind. I'm sure it'll be just as good for every day. It's fine, Chrissy says. She'll worry about the expense in January. The shop girl wraps it in 6 layers of pink tissue. Got it, Chrissy says as she clambers back into the taxi. I got the bloody perfume. There you go. He makes it sound as if she's achieved something wonderful. Right, Marylebone it is. They chat, her leaning forward through the hatch. She tells him about the passport and the dollars, and he shakes his head. She tells him how she loved her job until the new supervisor arrived, a man for whom she can apparently do nothing right. She says little of David, feeling disloyal, but she wants to. She wants to tell someone how lonely she is, how she feels she is missing some clue, the late nights, the business trips, how she feels stupid and tired and old. And then they're at the cheese shop. There's a long queue visible through the big glass window, but the driver doesn't seem to mind. He cheers when she finally emerges with the heavy, stinking wheel. "Yeah, you're done," he says, like she's achieved a miracle, and she can't help cheering too. And then her phone beeps. "I asked you specifically to get the Waitrose Christmas pudding. You've bought the Marks and Spencer's pudding. I have just had to go to Waitrose myself as you are taking so long and they have sold out. I have no idea what we're going to do about this." It is as if she's been winded. Suddenly she sees the four of them around the table, hears David's pointed apology to his family for her wrong at Christmas pudding, and something in her gives. "I can't do it," she says. "Can't do what?" "Christmas. I can't sit there with the cheese and the wrong Christmas pudding and them. I can't." He pulls over. She stares at her bags. "What am I doing? You say you've got nothing, but you have a family you adore. I have a posh Stilton and 3 people who don't even really like me." He turns in his seat. He's younger than she thought. "So what's keeping you?" "I'm married." "Well, last time I looked, it was an agreement, not a prison sentence. Why not go to your friends? She'd be pleased to see you." Yeah, she'd love it. Even her husband would. They're always asking me to come. They're cheerful. He lifts his eyebrows. Laughter lines fan out from each eye. "I can't just go." "You got your passport in your bag, you told me." Something has ignited in her stomach, a flash of burning brandy on a steamed pudding. "I could drop you at King's Cross, get the Piccadilly line to Heathrow, jump on a flight. Seriously, life is too short, love, too short to look that anxious." She thinks of Christmas freed of Diana's disapproval, of her husband's unfriendly slab of a back, his claret-soaked snore. "He'd never forgive me. It would be the end of my marriage." The driver grins. "Well, wouldn't that be a tragedy?" They stare at each other. "Do it," she says suddenly. "Hold tight," and with a screech he does his second U-turn of the day. The whole way back around the streets her heart thumps. Bubbles of laughter keep forcing their way out of her chest. Myra's response is quick and unequivocal. "Yes, come." Chrissy thinks of her supervisor glaring at his watch when she does not turn up for work after the Christmas break. She thinks of Diana's appalled disbelief. She thinks of Barcelona and Myra's husband's emphatic bear hugs and their surprised laughter. And then they are at King's Cross Station and the driver is screeching to a halt. "You really going to do it?" he says. "I'm really going to do it. Thank you." "Jim," he says, and he reaches through the hatch and shakes her hand. "Chrissy," she says. She pulls the shopping bags from the seat. "Oh, all this stuff." And then she looks up. "Here, give the perfume to your wife and the vouchers. Give them to your daughter." "You don't need to." "Please, it would make me happy." He hesitates, then accepts the bags, shaking his head. "Thank you, love. She'll absolutely love it. I don't suppose you want the Stilton too?" He grimaces. "Can't stand the stuff." "Nor me." They both start to laugh. I feel a bit insane, Jim." "I think it's called the spirit of Christmas, love," he says. "I'd just go with it." She starts to run towards the concourse, her legs flying up like a girl's, and then she pauses, dumps the cheese ceremonially into a bin, and looks up in time to see him, one hand lifted in salute. And as she runs through the crowds towards the ticket office, and he navigates his way back into the crawling Christmas traffic, they are both still laughing. And my phone stayed where it was, and I finished that just in time. So thank you very much for listening, and I do hope you'll be able to join me next Saturday when we'll find a completely different story and spend a bit of time together and shut the world out for just a wee while. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.